Welcome to my channel. This is Bruce the Boss Brooks, and don't forget to smash on that subscribe button and like this video, comment on this video. So it appears as though Congresswoman of Georgia, Marjorie Taylor Greene, has once again broken the internet as a rising star in the GOP party since the 2020 elections. And what did she do? She posted this here video captioned, "This is my COVID protection, hashtag make America healthy again." So that's the video and the tweet. And I don't see anything wrong with it. If anything, it's very educational, very informative, and very necessary in this time. Now, one of the first things she got criticized on was her form. If anyone doesn't know anything about CrossFit, that's where a lot of ignorance, I believe, in the criticism of her form for her attempt at pull-ups, as you saw towards the end there, was really exposed. Because if you don't know, one of the things that Marjorie Taylor Greene got big on before she even started running for office was back in 2011, she became a big proponent of the CrossFit movement and also became a partner and a part-time coach at a CrossFit gym. And what you saw at the end there is the CrossFit version of pull-ups, I believe also known as kitting. And so again, it doesn't look like the traditional pull-ups, but from what I've seen here online when looking up the CrossFit pull-up exercises, it appears to be right on par with what they normally do. Take a look.
Me neither.
I don't see really much difference in what she did versus him. So her form and the way she did it, if you again are familiar with CrossFit exercises, in particular the CrossFit version of pull-ups called kitting, it seems as though she was doing it perfectly fine, just all right. That was the first criticism, just to show how much people really are triggered by Marjorie Taylor Greene and how she's really upsetting a lot of feathers. But the other thing that some people were criticizing her for and trying to come at her, in particular, what's her name here? Emma Vigeland. She was the one who first started criticizing on the forum. And then she had to retract that in a later tweet saying, you know what, my fault. I did not know that much about CrossFit, so I'm going to retract. I was ignorant on that. So heads up to her for at least acknowledging where she was wrong. In her criticism on the forum for a technique she knew nothing about. Now, for me, CrossFit isn't my thing, so I wouldn't go with that. I'd rather go with the traditional pull-up myself. As difficult as it is, it's a really advanced technique and a maneuver showing great upper body strength as far as back strength and bicep. But I digress. If you want to criticize CrossFit, go right ahead, so long as you yourself can do the form as well. I found it very interesting that a lot of individuals who clearly appeared to be out of shape or overweight had the gall to criticize her on her form for a technique that that they themselves clearly cannot do. But now there was also a lot of criticism on whether or not this was responsible. Doesn't mean you can just do whatever you want. Should you do whatever you want? As opposed to following CDC guidelines. I like the message because we live in a time or era where I believe it was Cosmo that tried to come out with this cover here indicating the new healthy. And I'm like, no. All right, let me accept. So this was part of a campaign they did, I believe, a couple of months ago, where they tried to say this is the new healthy or this is still considered healthy, those who are clearly overweight. And that's not the right messaging when it comes to, especially what we're dealing with right now with COVID-19. Because when you look at the facts of who is mostly adversely affected by COVID-19, the facts are pretty, and we'll go through some of these articles here. The facts clearly have indicated, though, this is from CNN. They did an article back on March 5th, about a month ago. COVID-19 death rates 10 times higher in countries where most adults are overweight, reports find. 10 times higher if you're overweight, which corresponds with the New York Post article. Loading. Here we go. So this New York Post article, written also at the same time, back on March the 5th, 90% of COVID deaths occur in countries with high obesity levels, according to recent study. So I would presume that they're quoting from and are looking at the same study here. 90% of COVID deaths occurred in countries where obesity had high levels. So you had CNN already report, based upon a report that obesity led to 10 times greater fatality and or serious symptoms and severity of symptoms to COVID. New York Post here posting that 90% of COVID deaths occurred in countries with high obesity. And according to the CDC's own findings around the same time, it found that 78% of people hospitalized for COVID were overweight or obese. And that's just here in the United States. So I think Marjorie Taylor's message, if anything, is the right message we need to beat this, because by this alone, if more individuals across the world, and particularly here in the United States, were in shape, hit the gym faithfully on a regular basis, eat right, exercise, push themselves really hard, and are fit, we could have been past this pandemic a long time ago. And if anything, the risk for hospitalization, if you're just in shape, would be cut by, again, almost 80%. 80%. And we all know obesity comes with a wide range of other comorbidities and or other health issues, not just being overweight, but you're also more likely to have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, type 2 diabetes. And another important fact, according to the CDC's own numbers, was that 94% of all COVID-related deaths occurred with individuals who had, believe it or not, comorbidities. Only 6% of the deaths recorded here in the United States were likely COVID-19 was the only cause of death, but the other 94% were definitely comorbidities, which comes with being overweight or obese. And the other thing we know, and I'm going to delve into that or dive into that a little bit more in another video as it pertains to the vaccine and who really needs it or versus who doesn't, so be on the lookout for that one. But we also know that the other person to which COVID-19 primarily attacks are the elderly. In fact, the average age of death for COVID-19 are individuals is 78. And if you know how averages work, you're adding up a bunch of totals, dividing that by the number of variables involved to get your average. And if the average age of death to COVID-19 is 78, that means those in their 30s, 20s, maybe even 40s represent a very, very small percentage, not much more than 5% of the total deaths. All of the others have to be in their 70s and up. So this attacks those who are elderly because you can't beat Father Time. Your immune system drops. No matter how much you work out, you're not gonna have as strong of an immune system as you did in your 20s and 30s. And even though young people in their 30s and 20s represent about over 75% of all test positive cases, on the flip side, it's those 65 and older who represent the vast majority of those not only hospitalized, but then again, according to this own study, in addition to those being elderly that are the overwhelming majority in the hospital, it's those who are overweight. So Marjorie Taylor Greene, if anything, was onto something. We need to make America healthy again. We need to get more people in shape, because if you're in shape, you have a greater chance at fighting this virus if you do get it. It doesn't mean that you can't get it. It's not a cure. You can definitely get it. But what we're saying is, if you have a healthy body, if you eat right and exercise, stay in shape, you have a stronger chance building a healthier immune system to beat it if you do get it. And not only beat it, but beat it, knock it out without the symptoms being all that severe. Again, the studies show 78% of those hospitalized were overweight or obese. Again, so that just means if we continue to eat right and exercise, that would have cut hospitalizations by nearly 80%. That would have avoided any overwhelming of any hospitals or facilities. We can open up much sooner because it can spread amongst the population. We could reach some level of herd immunity without a vaccine, without shutting down, while still trying to protect those in the elderly community and others who may have other comorbidities like heart disease, COPD, etc. So that's all. Again, I saw nothing wrong with this. I think she's absolutely right. We do need to make America healthy again. We need to hit the gyms on a regular basis, be more faithful. If these current times haven't really inspired you to turn your health around, I don't know what will, because the only thing that would be left would be an over dependence on big pharma and the pharmaceutical industry on whatever drugs or medicines they can give you to provide the protection you can otherwise get naturally through your own diet and exercise. So that's my video. Definitely want to know your thoughts or comments on this topic, which can be very controversial, big elephant in the room, because Lord knows we've all been about body positivity. God forbid you offend anyone. But it's really a matter of health, and especially now with this virus that seems to be disproportionately attacking those who are not healthy. Again, not that those who are healthy can't get it, but you have a better chance at beating it and or having very few symptoms, being asymptomatic, or at worst a mild cold-like symptoms if you are healthy and in shape. So that's my video. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section. Love to hear that. If you like this, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to this channel. This is Bruce the Boss Brooks, and I'm out. Peace.